I'd love to see. What realistically, who I'd go for is probably Graham Potter.
Yeah, well, he's still getting paid by Chelsea, by the way, over 200K a week.
Or Eddie Howe.
Hey man, be quiet, man. Go and move on. You only get one pick. But Eddie's certainly on that list. Kevin, from your British roots, man, tell me what is your dad telling you?
I think it's gonna be Luke Carsley, and so like for now, they're gonna bring him in, promote him, and say, hey, you have a year-to-year contract and see what you can do. If you play good football, you may get promoted. But same thing with IG. I think you have to just throw 400K at him a week and just get Pep in with this squad to try and win something at 26. But it's Carsley or Potter is the only really two options I think the FA will go with, because I don't think Eddie Howe is going to leave the Newcastle board just with what they're doing there. And if he doesn't lose players, he's going to grow that team even more.
Wow. What do you think, Mark?
I think, firstly, you lot and the FA need to keep your hands off Guardiola, because he's going nowhere. We're not letting him go. We'll take him if we have to. But yeah, on a serious note, who I'd like to see, probably gone under the radar quite a lot, but I think definitely deserves a shout. Pochettino.
He's coming to America.
Is he actually coming to America?
Yeah, he's the number one candidate for the USA job.
Oh, but not yet. But Pochettino would be one. For both.
Pochettino was one that I'd like, but obviously say he's going to Canada then.
But I guess
US.
Just before Henry goes, the one thing that you all have to know is not a single foreign manager has won the World Cup for different nations.
How do you English folks feel about that, by the way? I mean, I have an old guy, Newcastle fan. He's my guy. He's all about English, man. English this, English that. So what do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, as an England team, you want to have kind of an English manager. But for me, I don't think there's enough out there available that are good enough. I think we have a shortage in England of good English managers. I quite like the guy from the French league. Is it Will Still? I really like him, but I don't even think he's got coaching badges yet, has he?
No.
I am a firm believer as well that you should have to be from the country that you
really?
I believe it should be a rule. You have to, the players have to be from the country, or at least have changed citizenship to that country, and I believe the manager should be the same.
I agree with that.
And that does make sense. I don't know if they would make it into a rule.
Well,
obviously,
apparently, like there's all them stories of like when England had Capello, they would walk in on Capello and his staff watching the Italy games, cheering Italy on, and going, "Yeah, come on!"
No, wait, time out. That didn't happen, man. No
bro,
way.
It probably did, bro. He's Italian, bro. These Italians are, bro. They're brazy, bro.
Like, well, I know they're cursing about their national team, but
that's why I just don't think like. Surely, if you're fully from there, like you want that, it's gonna be tough, isn't it? So, like, that's why I think that you should be internationally from that country, but it doesn't matter. It's not the rule, but like I just believe that it should be like that, and you should aim for that minimum. That should be the aim for the country.
Yeah, that's interesting. Henry, what's your pick, man, for the England managerial position?
First of all, with everyone saying Pep, I'm going to throw one in because of some Liverpool fan. It will never happen because he's taken a break, and I do think Klopp will do well with England. But if I'm being realistic, from what I've seen of Lee Carsley in terms of the way he won England the under 21 Euros, he can do very well with attacking players, and I really do think he'll be given the job now, and then I think eventually it will be. You're not going to like this, but I think he will be Eddie Howe in the future. But I think Carsley will manager for a couple of years.
If you think this is simple, man, you can overthink. I mean, obviously, Klopp is an option, very much an option, but he wants to take a break, so it makes no sense. But if you want English only, it has to be Eddie Howe. He's the one that's been probably the most successful. Well, you got Graham Potter, but I mean,
could you not argue that Dyche has probably had a better season than Eddie Howe last season?
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, man.
Turning that relegated sort of Everton around.
Well, but if you look at last season, obviously Newcastle finished seventh. I mean, I think it was seventh, and so I guess yes. But if you compare it to the Newcastle of 5-6 years ago, then that's a big. But certainly, 2 seasons ago, finishing the Champions League, you can tell that that's a big improvement.
I'll tell you an English manager to throw in the hat. Gary O'Neill.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Gary O'Neill that would be in. Oh yeah, you're right.
I think that's someone who you could, because I actually highly rate him. I just think he's a bit inexperienced at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think for England, I think with the players, and he don't have to. I think he could do all right.
Yeah. All right. G, you got to dip in 15 minutes, so let's get into Arsenal, and then we're going to continue to the rest of the teams. Your lot is linked with every player in the world right now, man, and you have signed 0. Nico Williams, apparently you're like, which is an amazing player, but are you going to get him? Mikel Merino, former Newcastle United player, he was a bum, and then all of a sudden the Spanish manager De La Fuente, called him in for the squad. He's all of a sudden a European champion, so he's in your radar. Calafiori, man, are you going to sign him? Yes or no? What's happening? You did an experiment where you posted a picture of you when you were little, which I knew it, by the way, and I